with that invasion, which Putin initiated and started, a little bit more than a week ago, he made very big mistake. Now he will lose that war. Definitely, Russia is trying to bring all their military, reserves, all their military forces, Wagner Group, Chechen militia, and so on and so on. And which means that really, regular Russian army is losing on the battlefield, in Ukraine very heavily.
تجد روسيا نفسها في موضع حرج عسكرياً على الأرض مع ارتفاع عدد ضحاياها بشكل كبير خلال الأسبوع الأول من الحرب، ما جعلها تستعين بالمرتزقة وجماعات الفاغنر والميليشيات الشيشانية لدفعهم إلى خوض الحرب عنها بوجه الجيش الأوكراني وما يبذله من مقاومة شرسة على الأرض. فما هي دلالات استعانة الروس بتلك الجماعات؟ وما مدى تأثير العقوبات الاقتصادية الغربية على روسيا في عجلة الحرب والقدرة الروسية على الاستمرار؟ يضعنا عضو البرلمان الأوروبي أندريوس كيبيليوس في أجواء الإجابات على تلك الاستفسارات.
He united all the West, and Ukrainian soldiers are showing, very heroic efforts to defend, and they are, destroying a lot of Russian, military technique, tanks, and so on, and a lot of Russian soldiers, either are killed on the field or they are running away. So, and the European and the Western sanctions against the Russian economy are really very tough. They are hitting, both finances and real economy in a very effective way. So I do not see how, Russia under Putin leadership will be able to survive, So that's what we see. And it will mean that, after the war, Europe will be different, Russia will be different. I think that it will be without Putin anymore, and Ukraine will be different. And recently, EU and European Parliament declared in a very clear way that EU should welcome Ukraine becoming a member of European Union. Starting with candidate status, I think that it will be done very soon. Then we shall see how to make procedure of Ukraine becoming full member of EU, more rapid. And I think that NATO also, will be much closer towards Ukraine. But that will be decided, about Ukraine membership in NATO, perhaps after the war. And if Russia will be different, and if Russia, what I call, will become deputinized, without Putin anymore, then Russia can be very different. Russia can become also democracy, European type democracy, and it will totally change security situation on the European continent. European continent will become much more secure if Russia will be different and if Russia will become democracy. So then really, all those long discussions, about NATO expansion and things like that will be not so important anymore.
وفيما يخص المرتزقة الروسية المعروفة بفاغنر، أكد كيبيليوس أن روسيا ستستخدم كل الطرق لربح هذه الحرب.
Definitely, Russia is trying to bring all their military, reserves, all their military forces, Wagner Group, Chechen militia, and so on and so on. And which means that really, regular Russian army is losing on the battlefield, in Ukraine very heavily.
وفيما يخص الاستقلال الأوروبي في موضوع الطاقة، وما هو الطريق الذي يمكن لأوروبا أن تسلكه؟ جاوب كيبيليوس.
Well, first of all, to introduce, immediately full embargo. That was what Parliament demanded, European Parliament, from in its resolution last year in April, when we saw, the same build-up of military forces on Ukrainian, borders, and the same was demanded recently by European Parliament on Tuesday. That there should be embargo, there should be restrictions, on oil and gas imports. Very quickly. That will allow also then, if that embargo would be implemented, then all the Russian banks perhaps would be also will go with those, SWIFT sanctions. I mean, disconnecting them from SWIFT, network banking, banking network, because now not all the banks are disconnected, Russian banks, because some banks are left without those sanctions in order for some European countries to be able to pay for gas and oil. That's the reason, real reason. So embargo would, from one side, it would, allow not to have any banks, without SWIFT sanctions. From another side, of course, we shall not pay any more huge amount of money to, to put in pocket, because my calculation is very simple. Last year, Europe, EU, for energy resources, for oil, gas, and coal, paid for, into Russian budget somewhere around of almost 100 billion, euros, 99 billion euros. So if to recalculate, it means that we are paying each day, while we are buying oil and gas, we're paying 270 million euros into the pockets of Putin. And it's very easy to recalculate that one Russian tank, which Ukrainians are destroying on the battlefield, it costs around of 1.5 million euros. So each day we are buying 180 tanks, for Russian militaries and mercenaries too, definitely. So let's stop, let's stop to do it, because Ukrainian soldiers, in the battlefield, they need, 3 days to destroy somewhere around 150 tanks. We are buying 180 per day, So it's a moral question. It's not an economic question anymore. And as I understand, both Europe and together with American assistance of, American administration, is ready to survive this season without Russian gas and oil. There are enough of, reserves. Americans are sending, new ships with LNG, gas. So we are able to survive during this season. And then, of course, in preparation for the next season, we need to be very clear, we need to immediately develop our capacities and our infrastructure in order really to survive, to live without Russian gas and oil.